All right, here we go, guys. Sorry about the technical issues, but this is live and unscripted radio due to some unfortunate weather accidents, but now I am live. First thing I'm going to do is do the opening prayer. So I'm going to do that right now. The spirits of the medicine that come to the being, I call to you in this open time. May everybody have the north, the south, the east, the west, and everything that was, will, and all be. Bless me as I walk the sacred earth. Bless me as I walk the sacred soil. Bless me as I live the sacred life. Aho, Great Spirit, you are all, you are everything, and you are also nothing. We are the pregnant universe waiting to give birth. Aho. And it is said, of the east direction, I see the medicine bundle of life. This medicine bundle is what is worn around your neck. Inside that pouch is something that is representative of your soul. Your soul is that energy that comes from the infinite you to the finite you. And the message of the medicine bundle is how to translate from the infinite to the finite you. We all come from the infinite, but it is our duty, our honor, and our service to our ever-evolving, co-creating selves to return to that which is infinite. We do that by our dreams. Our dreams are the things that allow us to see the infinite, to co-create with the infinite, and to be a part of the infinite. Aho. I've recently been asked questions about how I dream, and I've given so many answers, but the real answer is when you make that choice. No one person's dream is a stereotype, is a cookie-cutter dream. What is my dream may not resonate to others, and what may resonate to me may not resonate to others. So the medicine bundle asks you, who are your allies, who are your support in this message of energy, this message of dream time. Often we come to the systems of purification, and there are people out there right now that are trying to understand that their internal body, their gut, is where everything is processed. And I bring this in this opening session here because there are people that want to know how to detoxify yourself in a spiritual method. And you do that by expressing yourself. And I'll give a number of examples here. The first thing that I recommend for those that are trying to express is to start a fast, a 2-day fast where you're going to limit yourself to no food and just water. Some people only want to drink dehydrated or reverse osmosis water. If you do a simple research, you'll understand what is for you, because if you've never done a fast before, you can expect things like your body to get rid of toxins very fast. Some people are prepared for it and some people aren't. Your kidneys can be easily overwhelmed, as well as you could find yourself going to the bathroom 3 or 4 times in an hour as soon as you get to the point where you begin purging. Purging is when you clear out the full ends of your intestines. On a spiritual level, what that means is you are going through the process where you're triggering your crown chakra, activating your throat chakra, and the system that interconnects with your brain, and then the system that interconnects with your root chakra. And you are bringing in much more of the finite to get out energy, to get out the physical stressors that we hold on to. Our gut is the physical stress we hold on to. There is food products in there that has not been processed. It could be several years old. The medicine wheel is something that has been talked about in many different circles. It is a system that goes from east to south to west to north. The east is the place of your illumination and clarity. The south is the place of your innocence and inner child. The west is the place of introspection and goals, and the north is the place of your ancestors. The south is the place of the innocence and inner child. It is where we learn to play again in our mailbox, in our sandbox. It's where we let our hearts play with everything that's about us. We let everything out. You know, doing that is hard for some people that are very much stuck in the adult realm. The adult realm doesn't allow the inner child room to play or to be a part of itself. And that is such a big thing that a lot of adults forget. You must let go of the seriousness. You must let go of the many years of heartache and despair and allow yourself to open it up again. You can't open it up if you won't let it, if you don't even give yourself that option. You know, expressing spirituality is not about a religion. It's about expressing consciousness. This is something that I've learned in the many years that I've been doing this. It isn't about a single religious concept at all. It's about you, the person that wants to understand why they were here, what your purpose here is. You know, why have souls accumulated in a planet like this and going through all the crazy things that are here? They're like that because we've allowed it. We've asked for it in some method or manner. And now we're at a time where we can change that by literally using our consciousness. You know, I personally believe we're on the precipice of something great. Last year, a single fruit vendor from Tunisia who set himself on fire changed the course of the whole world. Now, I don't propose people to set themselves on fire. What I say is we are at that state where one person's actions can get a billion people to pay attention. That's never before been seen in our planet. Never that one person can influence so many. Their heartfelt actions. We are literally on that precipice where someone here or someone in the United States or South America will say something or do something that gets a billion hits on YouTube. Psy, you know, the Korean rapper, he got a billion hits in what? 6 months? 6 months. Imagine if something like one of these truther radio stations, one of their shows had a piece of information that slipped through the network of control and that everybody paid attention to. Let's just imagine that for a second. A billion hits, a billion people paying attention to a subject. That's a lot of thought power. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy of people waking up. That's how movements get started. That's how things begin to open up. On the round table I was on Saturday, I made it very specific, and because somebody asked me, when are we going to be free? You know, they asked me, I have connections to this Galactic Council, and I tell them, until we see people out in the streets in the same scale and size as the 1960s, we won't be free. It is only through our expression that we get out and march. Until you see it, this is all talk. Talk for an end. Talk for a motivation. Talk for a movement. Look at the movement of Idle No More. Idle No More came up out of a Native American elder that decided to go on a hunger strike because Canada was selling their sacred lands to the Chinese, and the Chinese were putting water dams and hydroelectric plants and poisoning the land. Once again, the Indians could not take it. They rose up, and they rose up in such a manner that they began to gather people in public places and beat a drum. They are part of this movement. I mean, hundreds of cities, they're flash mobbing. But that drumming energy, that angry energy, that do something energy, when they bring it to a place, they are bringing their hearts, their spirit, their land, their people. And they are changing things. They really are. You see, people assembled are people power, and the Illuminati cabal has known that for thousands of years. That's why they are in groups and in cabals and little things like that, because they're networks of power. When people come together, they are not part of that network of power. They are part of the Mother Earth, the Father Sky, the Grandfather's Sun and the Moon. They are all a part of that energy. We're coming together here on a radio station to be educated, so that we are not filled by the paranoia of Alex Jones, or not taken back by the callousness of the evening dews talking about Sandy Hook. Over and over and over again, our society is trying to reprogram us. And why are they trying to reprogram us? Because they want our energy. You know, you pull out your wallet. What do you see in there? Credit cards, identity. You see things that say you're part of this fictionary society. How does money and credit card and all that stuff relate to your dreams? It doesn't, because it's man-made. Example, if you have a crystal in your hand that came from the ground, the only man-made part about it is a man took a hammer and cracked it, and now it's a crystal you took out of a cave or picked up from a riverbed. That's the only thing that man did to that. If you have something that's polished, like in my hand right now is a 200 carat piece of turquoise. I got this piece of turquoise when I traded a sports car, and I got about 60 pieces of giant turquoise, which I turned into healing stones. Some are the size of my hand. Okay? Turquoise, carved into a cabochon. Once again, only thing that man has done was shape it. We did not create stone. Man created money. Man put symbology on money. When money is used, it is an exchange of energy among the people, the places, the world, the reality. The people behind the veils are controlling that energy through our monetary system. So people like shamans like me do not want to be a part of the monetary system because we realize how corrupt it is. There are many people that ask me, how did you get past that method of charging for money? Well, that was a personal issue with me, and so personal was it for many years I took no payment for what I was doing until I decided that I needed to do this and I needed to make money at it because that was my purpose. That was the craft that I had chosen. And now 20 years later, you know, I've come to terms with what it is that I charge. I do a lot of free readings. I do a lot of free healings. But at the same time, you know, when people request that you do 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours and you're doing it 20 or 30 times a week, you need to get paid for that. If you're not going to do that, you need to do it on a part-time basis. I chose full-time. I chose full-time on the radio. And on Thursday and Fridays, I run roundtables with various law people. Why do I do law? Because law is directly affected by our spirit. The law is the functioning daily cash habit that the system needs. So when spiritual people look at the law and understand how screwed up it is, we can create concepts that other spiritual people can do and come in. So me as a spiritual shaman, I'm calling out to that energy of the fiction. So what I'm going to do is read the energy of the fiction, so those people that pay attention may want to know what the fiction can do. The fiction interacts with us in such a way that our infinite spirit is now being part of the banking system. That infinite banking system is supposed to be a finite banking system because it's the rule of the world here. But they begin to break the rules in such a method and such a manner that we as spirits in here are immediately caught right into the money system. So caught are we that even our basic prayers cost money. You know, we had the Catholic Pope step down, first in 600 years. That's wonderful. That means they're getting along and they're able to figure out the next level. You know, there are people that harp on the Catholic Church. I don't. They're just as in it as everyone else. You know, there are good people there. There are highly spiritual people there. It doesn't mean that a few bad apples ruin the whole. That goes with any of the religions, like Mormonism. The few bad apples there that get politicized there. There's many spiritual people. In fact, I've read actually many members of the elders of the Church of Latter-day Saints. I won't name names, but I have. Simply, I've connected to them in a neutral way that my voice, my expression, the concepts that I bring them made sense to them in their spiritual way. And we were able to exchange, honest prayers among each other. So what I'm going to call the system that is energy, that is alive right now, the system that exists in the digital information age. So all those that are listening, imagine the digital concept of the total amount of energy of 7 billion people. It's a giant number that's constantly changed, and there's constantly people trying to put a logarithm to understand it. So we ask the monetary system, that is the energy of the spirit of Earth, to no longer accept the logarithm of man, to no longer accept the logarithm of man. We, the spirits of united of this world, offer the prayer pipe of inner peace to that which is the system of monetary energy of man. The prayer pipe of inner peace, we share with you our heart, our mind, our spirit, so we may come into balance to all the karma and dharma that is the interaction of our hearts, our minds, our spirit, in the inter-exchange of our life force. Aho, spirit of that energy, I call to your presence. I call to you with the hour of power, the place of many, the place in which our spirits growth. We ask you, the field of plenty, to come to the prayer pipe of inner peace, to that of the energy that is of man, of all expression and co-joining. We ask you that you bring this energy into balance, bring our hearts into balance, bring our mind into balance, so we once again touch the energy of the building and the architect within, because ultimately that is what that energy is about, architecting this world, so that each person's free will is allowed to be met and matched with the free will of the spirits of the world. Aho, energy of the world, I give you honor and praise. Each and every time you come, I honor you. So what that was me talking in shamanic way to the monetary system of man. Anyone can do that, but I chose to do it in what's called a voice of power, in which I aligned my root chakra to the earth and to the heart mind of Earth Mother. It's a meditative state that just about anyone could accomplish. You know, it's opening up your root chakra and your heart and your crown so that you have a warmth that goes over your body. And as that warmth expands and expresses, you talk out loud. Why out loud? External dialogue helps you understand the vibration of truth when you're talking. Internal dialogue helps you understand the message behind the truth. So I've been asked many times, how do you become telepathic? You become telepathic by combining external dialogue and internal dialogue. The internal dialogue helps what defines the truth of your existence when you're in that telepathic mode. As you are learning, you ask questions out loud and then listen for the inner message. So, questions. Colin 970, how are you doing today?
Great.
Great. How can I help you today? Did you want a reading or?
So good to hear you. It's great to hear this kind of information on the airwaves. I mean, this is what we've been waiting for.
Awesome.
I guess what I'd like to ask you is some sacred path information from you relative to me. Would that be possible?
Yeah, that's possible. So, have you ever been read before by anybody else?
Well, actually, I talked to you yesterday.
Okay, I know who you are. All right, I'll give you sacred path. What I need you to do is tell me what you did when you got up this morning, the first 5 minutes. I need you to be descriptive. What I'm doing is I'm reading that ribbon of energy that is you when you get up. So that's your actual dream time location, and I can help you with your sacred path information.
Yes, thank you. Well, actually, for the first time in a long time, I got up this morning, and there was a sense of peace and calm. That's literally the first time in probably a couple of years. Basically, I often get up at night in the 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock region, and this is the time that I'm quiet and communicate with the energies. And the name or the term Ravenhawk came up, just sort of emerged. So, and basically after I got up and was sort of engulfed in that sense of calm, it was literally just like the day was starting to unfold, and it was just a sense of well-being. And I credit actually that to some of the information that I got from you. And I thank you for that.
All right. I actually need to tell me like what you did when you got up.
As far as well, I always walk across the my house here, and I greet my cats, and I start the process of feeding them, because that's sort of what happens.
All right. I've tuned into you. All right. Just give me a second here while I organize this. All right, the first thing that I'm getting from your energy ribbon is there's 2 new anchor points coming into your life from your dream time. And the anchor point representative of the Great Smoking Mirror, it is you making an honored, sacred, ceremonial device. And it'll be your choice to literally craft an item that is going to represent the first steps in the shaman's hands and feet. This is known as the trial of the fire hands and fire feet. It is because your brain and mind and spirit have unified in a concept and a purpose so that you will make yourself a ceremonial tool, so you may have shamanic time attached with it. And when I mean shamanic time, it is that time where your brain is perfectly in line with all your chakras, and you're being a craftsman, so that the many future versions of you will be able to use this tool to speak to spirit in such a way that you will be able to attach and to understand your higher spirit, your higher will. You'll be doing things like I'm doing, but in your personal way. You'll be making an object that will help you talk to the sky, talk to the stars, to talk to the trees. It will be your choice as what the actual object is, but each time you use it, you'll be able to see the past person who invested in it and the future person who will be using the tool. That is the concept of this root energy that's coming through you right now. And this root energy is attached into your expression. I see your face colored right now. Half of it is black, half of it is white, and then opposite it, your eyes are opposite of black and white, so they're the mere opposition of each other. So that black and white being expressed across your face needs color, and that color is invested time of heart space into the forward-moving concept of the spirit that's coming out. You will want to travel to places of power. They may be churches, they may be a park bench, but you're going to do that in such a way where you can sit in that area and speak to that area, because areas have consciousness. Areas also have this energy that help you can co-create with the divine. Now, I also see that you're going to be setting up a sacred space, so you can do your own version of the medicine wheel. Setting up this sacred space means you go there and then you invest energy into it. You make it so it's a place that you can meditate that's outdoors or indoors. I have an indoor and an outdoor space in my home. The indoor space I have is surrounded in stones, about 100 different crystals. You do not get that big, but a candle and some sage and four stones would just mark the corners would be enough. It is representative during that time you are disconnected from the fiction and you're allowing your true self all the way out. That's what being a shaman is all about. And you're going to be going through those lessons of being a shaman, being a part of it. But to do that, you must invest so much of yourself. Now that you said you had that moment of peace, that serenity, the passion, the fire medicine is going to return. As the fire medicine returns, you have to understand what it is. How many times in your life did somebody throw a bucket of water on that fire medicine? Do you understand that concept, somebody throwing a bucket of water on it?
Yes.
Okay. Those are people. Those are people using, I call it psychic vomit, that they'll do this to you. It happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, often I find that it's really they're telling you how much they're hurt, and they basically are just throwing up on you.
Right. That's why it's psychic vomit, exactly. So you're going to have to build yourself an energetic shield for that. What I prefer to people is, instead of this shield concept, make a place that you retreat to, and I call it the regeneration chamber. Do you live alone? Do you have anybody there?
I live alone in my house. I share land with another person.
Okay. Well, you could live alone. Well, what I'm going to say is you can go out your backyard or in your home, whatever, in basement or whatever, a side room. You're going to set that aside, and you're going to put 4 crystals in the 4 corners, and you're going to say to yourself out loud, this is now my regeneration chamber. You're not going to bring electronic devices in there. You're going to go there and sit there and meditate. You're going to make that your dedicated room. You will want to make an outdoor version of this too, which is simple. You can go get 4 stones from the river and bring them with you and set them down, and that's your spot to go and connect. Your purpose in these spots is to disconnect from the fiction. It may take a while. You may find yourself, your phone's ringing. You may find yourself that I have to think about this or do that or do something else. You can use sage, dried sage. If you use fresh sage, it smells very harsh. I saw that question by Vani in there. So what you're doing is you're crafting yourself a shaman space. And once you have a shaman space, you'll learn to co-create within it. What I recommend for you is starting a dream journal, even if you only remember a few seconds of it or just your impressions from it. And then the next thing you want to do is you're going to want to do some kind of expanded meditation that allows you to have internal and external dialogue. The first thing you're going to do to this space is you're going to give something to it. So you're going to go to the east direction of that space and say, "Aho, friend sacred space that's going to give me this opportunity. I offer you my clear mind." You go to the south, offer it something else. Go to the west, offer it something else. Go to the north and offer it something else. So every time you go in there, you are giving something away to enter there. And that is, you're giving away parts of the fiction. Give away your credit card bill. Give away this. You're doing it in an out loud format. As you do that, that will be your place of power where you can ignite the fire medicine and no one will be able to throw water on you. You can get the fire going stoked just right inside you. Do you follow that concept?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So clearly, thank you.
Okay.
Great.
So that's ultimately what you're looking for there. Okay.
This space could also be in the middle of any other space as long as I set the boundaries of it. Would that be true?
Exactly. Setting your boundaries.
Okay. Yes.
I would prefer it's not your bedroom. Your bedroom's
right.
a place for sleep, and you can do a separate space ritual there, which I'll call the dream ritual. So once you set a space that's separate that you can retreat to recover and regenerate, then you'll do another one that's over your bed. I generally, what I prefer people to do is use silver, salt, and sage. You can just cut up a T-shirt, and so it's like 6 or 7 inch rounds cloth. Put some salt, a mercury dime, and you can go and find those at coin shops for $1 or $2. It's 90% silver. Silver, salt, and sage. And you put that into that little cut-up piece of cloth. You tie it shut. You're going to put one on each corner of the bed in between the mattress and the frame.
Yes.
Okay? What that's going to do is create a protective shamanic grid for your dream time. So each time you sit up from your bed, your goal will be to write down exactly what you were dreaming before the autopilot clicks in. The autopilot, which tells you to go and greet your cat, which tells you to go to the bathroom, which goes to tell you to put the coffee pot on. By breaking the autopilot's initiation and you going right to recording it, I tell people if you've got your cell phone, you go on and have that be your recording device, or if you have an actual micro recorder next to your bed, talk to that as you're going to the bathroom in autopilot. You've got that critical first 5 minutes is the most important part of any shaman's life. Also, the second most critical point is when you go to bed, like you're going to put yourself to bed and you're going to go to sleep, the last words you say outside is, "I want to be revealed in my dreams the truth and honor. I want more for my dreams. Give me clarification." And other words out loud. So when you wake up, you have that 3 to 4 to 5 minute period where you're going to find out if your dreams were answered. That's overcoming the autopilot. As you do that, the words of the shaman will get even deeper for you. There are tremendous reaches your spirit can go, but it's ultimately about goals. I mean, what goals would you have to be as a spiritual person? Do you want to be a healer in this life?
You know, it's basically what the thing that I have found is that I can listen to people and give them information that sometimes allows them to put things together.
Okay.
And so really, I guess really, what other game other than healing is there?
Their healing comes in many modes. It comes by an auditory healer, a physical healer.
Right, it would be more auditory then.
Okay, so you want to do something like what I'm doing?
It would, yes, exactly. You have that ability to almost see people in your own heart and speak to them from that place.
Mm-hmm. And that's because I spent many years in training as a prayer person. I call to the four elements every day. I talk to the skies every day. I talk to my animal medicine every day. Even if it's one sentence, I made it part of my everyday. And
did you do this verbally out loud, yes?
Yeah, just out loud, just like I'm doing a show with you. Yeah. Being a shaman means you're not worried about people watching you because you're doing it from your heart. Yeah. When I say heart, literally my heart, the beating green energetic system that is in there, is attached to every word that I speak. I'm not a person that's separate.
That's what I heard from you.
Yeah. So, you want to do that? Start talking to the universe. You know, you can write down what you're going to say. That's all right. You know, if you're a creative person, you know, you can do it through artwork also. So let's say you set up a space in your house, and then you set up the space by your bed. I mean, the silver salt and sage is really simple. You just get regular kosher salt, that's the thick grains, a quarter cup of that, any crystal that fits in the pouch, it doesn't matter, and a dime, a mercury dime. Yes. It's as simple as that, and some sage. You put all that into the four corners, 4 pouches. That'll take you maybe 45 minutes to put together something like that. Do you have salt in your house?
Oh, yes.
Okay, you have sage?
That's the one thing I have to get.
Okay.
There's crystals. The whole mountain here is quartz.
Okay. So you got quartz everywhere then?
Yes.
You're set. It doesn't matter. It's just as long as the size fits the pouch. That's what you're looking for. You know, you're going to put it in between the mattresses, between the frame and the bed. And right. That right there is going to give you protected dream state. That's going to allow you to co-create what I call dream time societies. One of the reasons I can connect my heart and my voice is because I've lived in dream time societies for hundreds of years. While I've lived here, and I'm only 38 years old, yet I've lived 600 years of life since I've been here. I mean, how do I explain that to anyone when I'm a 5-year-old kid and growing up that, you know, I lived a life somewhere else, but when I wake up over here, I'm a young kid?
Yes.
You know? I mean, what's your story? What brought you into spirituality?
It was, I had no other choice. I would continually know exactly what people were feeling and sensing. I could feel the pain. I could feel all this, and it was so confusing to the point where I literally just, and it all went to the left side of my brain, went into the sciences, and literally had to go to the point of, you know, walking out of my PhD because I couldn't do it. It was not going to work. I would have to lie my whole life, and that's
square peg round hole.
Pardon me?
Square peg round hole.
Yes.
It just wasn't fitting, and it was blatantly obvious to you that you needed to change.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
now you're changing. You're literally on the cusp of change.
yes.
You know. What did you have your degree in?
I was a biologist.
Okay. So you know when a cell splits, it's creating a second one. you're at that spiritual concept where the old version of you is going to be a new cell, and those cells are going to grow into a co-creating organism. That's where you're at right now.
Yes.
Think of the room with the 4 crystals as your first setup, and then under your bed with the silver, salt, and sage, and as your second cell. And then you'll make a third cell. You'll go to a place that has moving water to it, and you'll set a stone. You'll bury it in the ground there, and you'll return to it a couple times a month, and that'll be your third cell. And these will be continuous places that you want to go and talk out loud to. Now, if you write them down, that's great. I have notebooks full of prayers, prayers that I learned in front of spirit fires during dream time with the ancient elders of the dream worlds. You know, I've learned the seed songs of many worlds, many places. You know, it's time for you to set down seeds. You know, you're on a property. You could go to Revolution Radio's seed guy, and I believe he has the bottom of the thing, the seed survival vault. Order 100 seeds and say, I'm going to plant every one of those. And then each one of those can have words of prayers attached to them. That's being a shaman of the land right there, the most basic form. It does not mean that you need to process all of them. You just need to plant them and then determine what you want to create with, what you want to prune, what you want to be a part of. Spring is just around the corner for you.
Yes.
You know, is your land, are you capable of putting crops on your land?
No, it's up in the mountains, about 7,000 feet, so it's more alpine than anything.
Okay, well, you can do it indoors. It can be a herb garden, sage. You can grow sage really easy. Green onions you can grow really easy. You grow them outside, oregano or any of the spices. Mint. Okay, you do all those.
Right. Yes. No, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's a connection of the heart into the whole process of the living stream,
right.
And that's yes. And these are just ways that help me do that.
Right. So it's you making that heart choice to do it. The next thing that you're gonna experience as you open up the shamanic concepts for yourself is literally the change in consciousness. It is literally that time where you determine if the old you, the professor you who walked away, and the current you who is looking for a solid anchored view like the old person sets down roots and then literally makes it a part of your everyday and doesn't look back. But that's going to be your vision quest. That's ultimately what you're doing right now, is you're giving yourself a personal vision quest. You want that vision. You want it in such a method and a manner that it makes sense to you, so you can do something with it. I mean, I'm sure you could put together a book, 100 pages, 150 pages about the change you went through, what you've learned. I mean, you have education. You know cellular biology. You can apply some of cellular biology to your spirituality. You really can. It's not a complete separation of the two. It's just a matter of co-creating with them. Example, have you ever heard of ayahuasca?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
From a cellular biologist, what is your perspective of it?
It basically gives, if I was a cell, it would be literally giving me new information. In other words, it would sort of be like the cellular equivalent of RNA to the spirit.
Right.
And I've been involved in utilizing the different sacraments over time, so yes, the spirit of ayahuasca is, well, science has yet to really understand what it is, and it probably never will.
Okay. Would you ever use it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I think you are at that precipice if you want to have that experience, because the spirit of ayahuasca is speaking to you right now in a co-creative method and a manner. And it's said that when you existed in the Mayan Empire, many, many thousands of years ago, you were an ayahuasca master. You knew the ingredients. You were a man of the plants. You knew of the 20,000 plants that lived in the forest, and all the birds and all the animals. You knew what they were. So now you're here in the future, and ayahuasca calls to you. You know, I'm going to lay it out front to you. You could go online and find a very credible organization that takes people to go and do ayahuasca ceremonies in Bolivia. If you like personal references, I could give personal references. There has been talk in my circle of putting together a group to go and do ayahuasca ceremonies for people that are recovering drug addicts that I've been counseling. It would be 6, 7, or 8 at a time. Or for those people that were in the shaman training class that I had that wanted to go down there. Though it's a little expensive, but it can be done. I did turn down a trip to do the pyramids this year in May because there's just too much hecticness in there. But is that something that is even within your concept of, you know, saying, hey, I want to plan and go and do this 2 weeks in Bolivia? Is that with it for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, obviously one side of me says yes, and the other side says, what are you talking about?
Okay.
So, yes.
So
the side that says yes is the side that I listen to.
Okay. But at the same time, that side that says, what are you talking about, needs words so that you can understand where it comes from, so you can heal it, so you can understand that its expression has value, but only because it's teaching the lesson of the message. It's not necessarily the message itself, it's the lesson. Okay?
It isn't to deny that side.
Right.
No.
I mean, it applies to me too. I mean, today coming over here, I could have spent another 2 hours on the phone with Time Warner Cable trying to get them to fix my internet, but I knew it wasn't going to happen. The whole neighborhood was out. You know, what was the point of me expressing anymore? And I just went and solved the problem. Then I got here, and you know, I went through some computer issues, but I'm on air. I didn't give that side the energy, but I understood its message. And the same thing goes for you, is when you go into those creative spaces, be it your bedroom or that room that you have set aside, you can give that voice words there and then find out what it really wants behind it. So let's ask it. The side that says, what are you talking about? I mean, is it instantly relate to what would friends and family think, or, you know, does that put you on the crazy side? What do those words have for you?
Well, it's only the side of me that has to do with, like, putting all of those physical aspects together. In other words, what goes down is the flow of, oh, it's a passport, it's a ticket, it's the packing, it's the this, it's the putting the cat, you know, all of that. In other words, that side says, you know, but that's all just the physical aspects of being, which will take care of themselves.
Okay. Well, we're going to be coming to the top of the hour. You want to stick on the line, and we can go over with this. I'd like to continue to talking to you.
I'd love to, Andrew. Thank you.
Okay. We've got about 3 minutes before it goes, so let's talk about what do you actually know about ayahuasca? I mean, what have you just watched some videos like Graham Hancock? What is it that attracted you to it?
Well, I was involved back in the 90s in a group that did a number of psilocybin, ecstasy, a number of different mixtures of things to, you know, in order to do different sort of journeying processes. So I have never done specifically ayahuasca, only things that are in the same general nature. And I completely understand that they are not the same. I understand ayahuasca is a completely different animal.
Exactly.
And in that sense, I'm also aware that you know, that ayahuasca is a no nonsense. It's, you know, I guess I put it more in the category of something like perhaps ibogaine or something.
Mm-hmm.
And which is definitely medicine, as far as I would be concerned. In other words, it's not something to be done. It's not it's not a weekend at Bernie's, you know.
No, it is something that you should honor and you do with the group and have a shaman watch over, because you're entering the co-creative spirit world of the ayahuasca mind, which is Earth's hive mind.
Yes, yes.
Now, I have entered that space many times, and I've met many people that have taken ayahuasca, and I've looked into that energy, and I know that I was born of the same energy. And there are many people that go through the ayahuasca ceremony and realize the same thing, that they were previous people doing ayahuasca thousands of years earlier that had the vision of ayahuasca and the Earth Mother, and then had that vision of them doing ayahuasca as that even older person.
Yes.
Because that's what you're going to have when you go and do it. So let's talk about it a little more. What's your continuing perspective on it?
Well, basically, to me, it seems it's a bridge. It's a bridge from, it almost seems like a bridge that connects the two sides of the brain in a certain way. That was part of my experience, because in times when I had utilized peyote or mescaline, it took me out of that place of 2 + 2 = 4, you know, to the place that, who cares?
Exactly.
2 + 2 = purple, whatever. And that I know, at that point, it was clear to me that, you know, the place of wholeness was the place of truth. The place of separation was not.
Exactly. Many people have said that when they listen to my voice and when I do shows like this, that it connects to them when they're in those special places where 2 + 2 did not matter. That's something that I worked very hard to get at, because I listened to my voice in my dreams. And then when I woke up, I listened to see if my voice in my dreams and the voice of the person was the same. And I learned that the more that I worried about credit card bills and paying the car payments, or all that took away from that voice was not complete, it was separated. And as I began to let go of that fiction, I began to regain that heart space, that voice space, until it was all one. And now I'm here in front of you talking about ayahuasca. So I know you have more information to get out. I mean, do you wish to share more with us? I know that you've been in the chat room a while, and people may not know exactly who you are. It's up to you if you'd want to say that.
Well, I guess I would ask you a question. What is the relationship or the difference, or how they're related, you know, between like ayahuasca, peyote, and like San Pedro?
Okay, I've used all of them in natural ceremonies, but each one was for a specific purpose. The first time that I did ayahuasca, I had already done peyote numerous times, as well as some others. So when you achieve the point in peyote in the ceremony where you're attaching to the colors, and you're aligning your third eye and your throat and your heart, and you have the prayers and the heartbeat of Earth Mother in you, you're opening up to the flower connection of the hive mind of Earth. That's on the peyote level. On the ayahuasca level, you're waking up to the galactic consciousness that's part of Earth Mother. It's a bigger scale. It's the micro versus the macro again. And that is the scale of what ayahuasca does. So you may understand that your soul incarnates on many planets at once. It helps you understand that the many layers of the uniworld that are layered over here, you learn that you're actually the same person in all of your past lives, living at the exact moment of the present. It's not linear. All of the lives are coexisting and living at exactly the same time. And that's the main difference between ayahuasca and peyote, from my perspective, for what my training brought through, because I fasted for many days before I went and did the ritual so I could cleanse myself, so I could be ready for the message. You know, for those people that are already on the path, you don't get the answers right away. You would still have work to do. So when I share what I experience, is you may experience something different. The first time you did mushrooms, what did you experience?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, I can't really remember back then. At this point, next week I'm going to be 70 here, and it's like I've been through so many lives during this particular cycle that I can't really remember back then.
Okay. What is about the last time you did it? Well, tell me something that identifies it for you.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, what I found was literally, it was almost like going into, excuse me, like going into the world of that was sort of portrayed in the latter parts of the Avatar, the movie, mm-hmm. where there was no shadows.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it's the world. It's the world that is considered magic, I guess, by people that are, living only within dream. It was like lucid dreaming from the standpoint that the things would emerge that were literally mental image pictures, and they would become real.
Uh-huh.
Perhaps the problem was that it was done during a period of investigation, so that there was no direction particularly to it. It was like the only place that I had as a guide was myself, and so I was only able to go so far because there was I had no guides as far as a shaman that would help me on that level.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that will use those substances for personal recreation or evolutionary experience have that same scenario. That's why I tell anyone that thinks they're going to do ayahuasca, do it with a trained shaman that has done it many times. It's not that things can go wrong. You just don't get the 100% of the experience because there's things that they know that can point you in the right direction when you're in that moment where the colors are overwhelming and there's two doorways. And the two doorways are technically one, but each takes you down to a different level of emotion. To connect to the ayahuasca spirit, it's about getting to the point where you can return to prayers inside there. If you're one of those people that can pray, it doesn't matter to what God it is. It's the concept of it, that prayer. That is what vibrates you to the highest level of that energy of ayahuasca, what helps you to understand the galactic concept that you have. On some of the ones like peyote or mescaline or LSD, there are different types of dissociatives. I don't really recommend those, though mushrooms, and if done properly and if they're dosed right, can be very effective. I worked with the Huichol Indians, who were the first founders of peyote, and brought it to the peyote of Mexico. So I understand deeply what it is and what it can do. But it should be done in a ritual format where you honor the plant. It's medicine because it's teaching you. It's giving you that option as it's sacrificing its final essence so you could have that experience. And you honor that. The experience is much more fulfilling. The recreational one thing is one thing, but when you're doing it for an experience, you got to do it because you want the experience. And then when you're done with the experience, you're going to do something with it. Okay. Example, the last time I did a sweat was a couple months ago. I went out and did a sweat, and then afterwards I had an option of going and doing a fast or going and do mushrooms. I chose to go and do a 10-day fast after a sweat, which was far more potent than any mushrooms that I ever did. It was because I was able to get rid of some very deep-rooted energy that I needed out of myself. Though it had helped me progress through my life, and it was one of those solid foundations that, helped me into spirituality, but it had also become a crutch in such a way that I needed to fast it out of me and begin to co-create a new concept over it because I'd become too rigid in my ways. And I really think that that's what you're coming to. You're going to have that experience so you can get rid of something. I see a question. You mentioned the importance of tailbone. What is the tailbone is fused? If you have a tailbone that's fused, that doesn't really matter. Best thing for you to do is put a crystal over it and start feeling its vibration. The energy may feel different than someone else's. I just wanted to answer that question real quick. All right. Have you ever had experiences on, let's say, marijuana? That's another example.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay. What do you believe it does for you?
It, well, it's something actually that I've used for, many, many years. To me, it's medicine in many ways. It seems to allow me the access to either side of my brain. In other words, I can still function with the left side and still have access to the right side. So to me, it's been something that has allowed me almost to be able to function more in the matrix here, rather than completely go to outside of it.
After your experiences with mushrooms, did your dreams change?
Well, actually, I found that I don't really remember dreams very much. There was a period of time when, yes, right after that, they did increase dramatically for a while, and then it sort of dropped off. But this was not during the time, this was all sort of very interesting. It wasn't something that was being pressed by spirit from within me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
It was an investigation time. Sorry.
It's okay.
So it was, basically, I would say that, marijuana has been something which has been more of an ally that I've utilized. I can return to that place of feeling in a moment, and that's what I've sort of taken with me. The one thing I did find was that, there was a time that it was almost like residing in the middle of the pituitary, or being in other words, being able to see but not being able to particularly feel. And then there was a time that the seeing actually became, it was almost like dropping from the head into the heart, and it was a distinct journey that occurred. And it was not something that was drug related. It was almost it was in other words, it was possible that you could go from the head to the heart, and that really the heart was home.
Yeah, exactly. The head to the heart is in yoga. It's actually a very common phenomenon. Especially if you pay attention to some of the yogi practice of pranic breathing. Bringing the head to the heart is where you understand when you were a baby, a fetus in the womb, your heart is the first thing that grows as part of your organism, and there is a piece of your brain in your heart. You could actually cut open the heart and see a piece of brain matter inside your heart, because the heart's the first thing that grows. When the brain goes into heart, you are unifying your heart, your spirit, your mind, and your body. And you are completing the shaman's journey by doing that. And to return to that moment is to learn your body's messages so your spirit can enter at the same time and unify all of the versions of you by having your head in your heart.
Oh, thank you.
Okay? A lot of people can begin to try this. You don't need the sacred herb, but you can try it in your meditative practice, where you just keep letting yourself rescind into your heart. Rescind into your heart. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. And each time you do that, there more and more of your consciousness is returning to your heart. I had an experience about 8 years ago. I went to meet a powerful psychic, and we made a group of 33 Reiki masters, and we went to a lady named Sarah McLean. And this woman is a specialist in heart energy. She had experienced the heart energies in Bolivia during a great open ceremony. And she could just all of a sudden bring out her heart energy, and the 34 people in the room, their hearts would just light up. And from that point on, I've been able to light up my heart and speak to people. I mean, she turned my light on. My light was already turned on. She just turned up the volume on it. She showed me where the volume button was, and that's what I'm doing now live on the radio.
Yes, yes. Sometimes, Andrew, to me, it's so evident. It's like I hear that vibration in your voice, and it's like it immediately brings me to the heart. And that's, I didn't have any other choice but to call you.
That's wonderful. I get a lot of people that call me. They hear that, and it's their own inner message saying that this person is someone that I want to talk to, or I want to know their point of view because somehow it relates to me. Talking from the heart. I mean, it took practice for me, but I know there are other people out there that can do the same thing. Same thing. I really think you can too. And it's about clearing up some of the old things in your life. I mean, it's time for a fast. When's the last time you did a fast?
30 years ago.
30 years ago? So there's 30 years of built-up stuff in you that needs to come out. So you're going to manifest it in a way that you're going to expel it with the natural parts of your body so all the energies can be digested properly. That's what you're doing when you're doing a fast. You're getting rid of the final product that's going back to the earth.
Yes, yes.
Okay?
Yeah, I've been seeing that one.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to go overboard. Just start doing it, Double up on your vegetables, and then plant it. So get yourself, pre-emptied, and then there's always the colonic. I know there are a lot of men that are like, it's an exit only. Well, let me tell you something. Until you've had it done and you realize how much they can get out of you, then is when you'll understand that, for a few minutes of discomfort, all of a sudden you have years of energy returning to you because you cleaned all that gunk out.
Oh, absolutely. That would be, how bad can it be?
Bad. Inside, it's not going to hurt you. It's just hot water. It's all warm water.
Right.
It's warm, soapy water. Yeah. It's nothing big deal.
That's, 5 minutes of that for the getting rid of that many years, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Instead of having to go through 10 or 20 day fast to get rid of it all, because there are people that if they haven't done it in that many years could have literally 10 to 20 days before they're done pooping. Right.
I think I'd do the colonic.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
There's a ritual aspect to the host, to the old-fashioned way of fasting, because I apply it to praying. So, once you're on your second or third day of fast and you're just on the water and you realize the water is the only thing that gets the hunger pains away, that's when you're able to tell your body to say, I'm ready to get the stuff out of what's in my legs or in my foot or in my elbow, and literally say, I'm going to heal that as I'm pulling out the old program and I'm going to poop it out. So I do it in prayer. So it can apply to that way also, if you choose to enter it from that point. When I say I'm a shaman every day, awake, asleep, in the bathroom.
24 hours a day.
Go ahead again?
No, I say, yes, you're a shaman 24 hours a day.
Exactly. You can bring that into your life. Anybody can. It's just a personal choice.
Well, it seems like it's the only choice. It's the only game in town. What else? What other option is there? Deeper into the matrix?
Exactly.
And it seems to me like, from what you're saying, is that like a colonic, it's like the initial dam buster. In other words, it'll bring you to a place where, maybe a 3-day fast is going to be a lot more pleasant even. Not that necessarily I'm looking for pleasant, but the less that the body is interfering with the process, it almost seems. In other words, I'm looking to have things released.
Right.
So that if I can initially help, my monkey suit here release, then I just set it up to be able to be more fluid in allowing that process of getting rid of that energy. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense.
Okay. So that's what I'm going to look for, and actually that's something I'm sure it's... is it a good idea to have it done by someone
professional?
else?
Yeah. If for your first time professional, yeah, it can get messy.
Okay.
They're not that expensive. You can call around. There are a lot of places that do it. You do it. You're in an hour. Another way is to change your diet completely and double up on your fiber. You know, and I mean, for those people that don't want to go through the colonic or do home enemas, but again, I'm going to recommend them to everyone. If you want to get on the path, you got to get rid of the junk, and the junk is exactly it, junk. Okay, it's the stuff your body can no longer process anymore. There's no relevant energies left in it. So you need to get rid of it. Stop holding on to it. You'll notice that, after a colonic that, some of the things that used to stick around, like thinking about old girlfriends or old boyfriends or mistakes that you made, they disappear because that food has been attached psychically in a way to that broken down, decomposed stuff that is scum that's stuck to the inside of your walls. It's the psychic link to those times.
Great. That lights up a picture. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, you look at your body as a complete system, and we're a psychic body. There are times that people hear me say, when you do your first fast, you'll crap out that dime you ate when you're 2 years old or 5 years old. And I say that for a purpose, because the dime has a date on it, and then the time that you actually ate it. So when you clean out yourself and you clear out yourself years of stuff, you have years of energy that returns to you, and the shamanic person can be prepared to receive it in a method where it can be put right into a crafted object. In the beginning I told you about making a ceremonial object. You could go and have your colonic, and then the next couple days you begin crafting your first ceremonial tool and say, this is something that's going to help me expand my consciousness and explore my dream world. So you're cleansed, and then the new energies that are coming in are going through you and into this object. Making you a shaman on even a higher level.
By the way, this question, this object, is it something that basically you will know what that object is to be? In other words, the form of it?
It's honestly is, what are you good at making? It's got to be done by your hand. It's not about what it is. It can be anything, but you make it.
I got you. Okay, so it is something that, in other words, I put my life force into.
Yes. I commonly say people that are reaching the point that you're at, you can go and get some clay, like simple clay from like whatever the Michael's craft store around you, and get a tube and drill some holes in it and make a form so you can make your own clay pipe or flute. If you're a person that smokes, you're making it to take that smoke in, co-create heart space energy, and then expel it out to the universe. So that process. If you're making a flute, you're creating the vibration of your life force through this energy and extending vibration instead of using the smoke. There are other people that want to make a medicine bowl so that you can grind up plants or vegetables or stuff so that it'll be part of your cooking habit, like a grinding bowl, or something you grind just herbs up that you're going to turn into incense or whatever. Yeah. You're using that for a co-creative process.
Really, I guess it's an object of personal power, right?
It is an object of personal power, and it dependent on you. I mean, I can look at your energy field and tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be a talking stick for you. It's going to be a piece of wood. I mean, I'm going to tell you you're going to need some powerful tools. Tools as like feathers, shells. You're going to need to decorate this in such a way that when you touch it, there's a lot of your essence in it. It can be a size of a staff if you want it to be. But it's going to be your tool when you hold it and you're walking. You're the walking shaman. And as the walking shaman moves, his voice and his messages will move. And that's one of the things you need to do, is start moving, with this shamaning tool in you. You may want to make a flute. You may even want to make a drum. I mean, it's going to be up to you. You want to make all of them. You may find out that you do this colonic and you have enough energy to make several items. If you do it. And then just use them. Just make it into part of your daily habit, your daily grind.
The daily reality, yes.
Yep.
Antidote to the Matrix.
It is the antidote to the Matrix. The Matrix is here for us to sheepily live in, hapfully, blissfully ignorant. Or you can wake up and understand that you can co-create your way out of it. And then, as instead of opening the door and going through it and slamming it and not coming back, you can say to all your friends on the other side, "Hey, everybody, wake up. Speak from your heart." And you can understand your dreams and follow yourself to the door out of the Matrix, and then create the Matrix so everybody lives equally. So everybody has all the knowledge, so that we're a transparent society instead of a secret society.
Yes, it's lately the phrase, "No authority above, no slaves below."
Exactly.
It's and I think you do understand that as you speak this out, and as you're speaking this out over, it's like resonating throughout the whole universe. I get some pictures of this happening. Literally, it's like waves that are going out from you, and it's very powerful.
Right, it is very powerful. All right, 970. We've got only about 10 minutes left. I'm just going to finish off with you. Do you have any more questions for the shaman here? This is your opportunity to get deep into yourself and to take your angles you want. Shoot away with questions.
Well, the only question, I guess, the talking stick aspect. In other words, one can find something which is a beginning point, and then you add your own energy into it. In other words, if I find a stick that is likable, I don't necessarily have to make the stick, but I literally own the stick and then create the completion of it. Would that be
Correct.
True?
Correct.
Great. That's yes, that's wonderful. Does this journey from the head to the heart, that would seem to me to be the only journey that really makes any difference? In other words, I can't do that. I need to have a body almost to do that. Would that be true?
Say that question again.
That in order to make that journey from the head to the heart, I really have to have a body.
Yeah. It's like having a out-of-body experience inside your body.
Yes.
Kind of what I related to. You just go inside until the point where the inside light is what is creating the hologram of the body.
Right. In other words, it's almost that journey from separation back to the fullness of being.
Yep.
And in that very, that having a I can't really do that without a three-dimensional body. In other words, that's part of the reason that one takes a body, perhaps.
One takes a body because of the incarnation rules that they have here. It tells you what kind of body you can have. Okay. I think where your separation here is as you begin to have that experience in multiple times, it changes your perspective into a point where you understand it's only by experiencing it will you understand how it changes you. It changes your basics of perspective. You said before it felt like your head was in your heart. Well, imagine if your head was in your heart, 4 or 5 times a day for 2 hours at a time, half your day. You would see the world very different, because people's anger wouldn't affect you anymore. The news wouldn't mean anything to you because you're coming from the trueness of your heart. So nothing is penetrating the trueness of your heart.
Right. So it all comes back to the heart, period.
Yeah,
really.
It does.
that's easy.
Mm-hmm. It makes it so easy. It changes the way you perceive meditation.
Right. That's, yeah. I've never been able to really do much in the way of formal meditation. It's, I just prefer to look into the eyes of my cat sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of people that talk about they let their animals in meditating with them because your animal can add to it. Does your cat interrupt you?
No. It's always a gentleness that it brings me back to that place of gentleness because they have nothing but love. At least that's all I see in them. So it's almost like I utilize their energy to bring me back to that place of gentleness in me.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, you're really at that point where you've got so much open for you, so much, and you have to determine what you're going to do with it. You're on the path. So what are you going to do with it? You've had a lot of stuff that come in front of you, and do you think you can go out and get a colonic and think maybe it's time for you to go and do an ayahuasca ceremony? And at your age, 70 years old, are you ready to have that experience?
Absolutely. How about next week?
Then honestly, then plan it, co-create with
Absolutely. That's what I'm going to do.
Awesome. And then after you do it, you come back and give us a report so everybody can hear it and understand the change that you went through. I mean, and I hope that there are other people that would want to go it too. And maybe we can even put something together so everybody gets a good price on it. We'd have to do that in the future, but after you come and report back on it. I mean, I've done it before, and I know what it can do. And there are people that are meant to do it, and then there are people that aren't. If those people that are meant to do it, want to come out, we'll make a way for them.
Right. Well, the other thing is I do know that I'm here to really, at some point, speak to the people that are of my generation that often have a sense or a feeling that they are left out, or that it's all over, or that, the sand is all gone from the hourglass, and that's just not true.
You're right, it's not. It's never ending, and you can refill it at any point in time. That's kind of why I told you about making that place that I call the regeneration chamber. It's that spot you put the crystals down and you retreat to. You let your energies build from within there. And then, find a way to talk from your heart, return to your heart so that the energy you're creating is around everything and everyone. We got about 3 or 4 minutes left. Do you want to sum anything up about from the experience you've learned in the last 2 days with talking with me?
All I can say is that in talking to you over the last 2 days here, what it does is it validates what I was. It was like there was this little child that was sort of in the corner that knows that it knows what is true, but literally everything else says that it's not. And literally in allowing you to touch me, I'm able to share in your vision, and that is priceless. So all I can say to anybody that is considering, I don't know, should I, shouldn't I? Well, give it a try. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Oh, thank you very much.
Just like you are. So,
yeah.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
And thank you for calling. It's only by people that want to stand up and tell their truth. That's me telling you the truth, and you saying, I hear your truth, brother, and I hear the message of your heart. And I thank you, everyone, for taking this opportunity. So we got another minute left, so I want to tell everybody thank you for coming. Sorry about the little snafu of technology in the beginning, but it all got worked out. Great Spirit came down and said, here, good show. Caller, I'm absolutely thankful for you calling in, and everybody else that's out there. So I leave you with a simple message. The earth power that is the place of being is in your heart. The war bonnet of self-expression defines the advance to your heart. The cradle board of life allows you to put your child on your heart so that child is connected to your heart, and it is your ability to respond. then there are storytellers that are out there, those people that are constantly interacting and co-creating with the fiction. You are on your message. You are on your path. You are a part of it. And it is just something for you to tell the story in such a way, in such a method, in such a manner that it connects to people. Even if that story is a series of YouTube video links, it is your story that is connecting to others. Be creative in dream time. Let the unlimited vision of the wolf come to you. The wolf howling in the deep distance, asking you to come to visit it in dream time, it being the beacon to reality that is this universe. Oh, once again, the talking stick has been handed to all those that are listening now. If you should choose to talk to the spirits at this point in time when this show is over, they will answer you simply because it is the time where messages are answered and times are co-created into peace. Oh.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the holy grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Hello, let's create, let's co-create, and let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. Living the mystical life daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.